Oh, okay. Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for coming. So we're doing a presentation on deferred action, which is the policy that Barack Obama announced June 15. And like Cheryl previously said, we're going to tell you a little bit more detail about the benefits, the risks, and the requirements to be eligible to apply for this. But with this policy that we have, we're trying to explain to you a little bit how it works. So the president set out this policy, and it affects all of the immigration system in the United States. A lot of people think it's limited to certain areas, no, but this applies entirely to the whole country. So it applies to the Border Patrol, to everybody who handles your paperwork in the immigration field, and to ICE. So everybody has to respect and follow this policy, and that's something that we wanted to emphasize from the beginning, because a lot of people think that it's limited to just the border or just ICE. Yes. So to add a little bit to what Jessica said, when they say have entered the United States under the age of 16, it means that if you arrived on your 16th birthday, you're automatically out. Like, you had to have been here when you were 15 years old. Also, they want physical presence that you were here on that day, on the day the policy was enacted, which is somewhat difficult, but we're going to explain to you right now how you can prove it. And for the currently be in school or have graduated from high school or obtained GED, we put "ors" in really big letters to emphasize that it's one, or like it's one of those, it's not all of them. And last but not least, the criminal record part, you really need to be honest with our attorneys today. If you do get a chance to meet them, if you do have some sort of criminal record or an encounter with the police, because you want to bring it up now, because it can prevent you from qualifying. And it can count as anything from domestic violence issues to multiple DUIs, and like she said, to gang-related activity. The potential benefits here, that if you are eligible for deferred action, you will get work authorization and authorization to live in the United States for 2 years. You will also get a social security card, and you will get a driver's license. This is renewable, so you might be eligible this time around, but you might not be eligible the second time around, but it's for 2 years. So if you get it, in other words, to a certain extent, you get more protection from being deported, from being, students are not considered a threat to this country, so they're not going to be bothering you, or they're not going to be wasting their resources either on trying to get you out of the country when they have more important stuff or more bigger threats to worry about to this country.
So also, there's some benefits, but there are also risks that you can take when you apply. If your application is denied, you might get a notice to appear in front of an immigration authority. So it's basically a deportation order. Also, people that, like Adriana said, people that don't have clean records, you should really consult with one of the legal counselors, because you run the risk of getting deported. That's why it's very important that you're truthful now when you meet with one of the legal attorneys, so that way they can prevent you from getting this notice of deportation. And there is no appeal process, so once it's denied, that's it. You can't appeal or keep on appealing to get the benefit.
So like I mentioned earlier, it's granted for 2 years. After that, you can renew it, but you might be eligible the second time around. It depends. Also, this policy does not lead to a green card or citizenship, so this is not a legal status. Just to make it clear, it's not a visa. It's nothing like that. It doesn't grant you the right to leave the country and come back. It's just it's deferred action. It's not a legal status. It doesn't lead you to that either. We know that the elections are coming up in November. If for some reason President Obama doesn't get reelected, we don't know if Romney might change this policy or not, which is why a lot of people are recommending maybe you waiting until after the election to see if you're going to apply for it or not. It's not a smart move for Romney if he was elected to completely eliminate this policy or do something different with it. So that's just a caution that we've been hearing, and it's up to your discretion.
So we're also giving a sign of warning to everybody. Please, 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 the application process is not out yet. So be careful of the consultants or the notarios that are saying, give me the money and I'll begin the trámites, or I'll begin the process. There is no such thing right now. The application is not out yet until probably the end of August, I'm guessing. So now just get good advice, prep for it, so for when it does come out, so you can have everything ready for the process and for the application.
Yeah, so the branches that I showed you guys at the very beginning, they were giving 60 days to come up with some sort of application process, which means that is around August 15th. So we are expecting that by that time they have a way for you to apply. So that's not what you're doing here today. You're not applying for anything. We're just getting you prepared so that you know what this means, how it could affect you, do you be eligible or not. If you have any form of like criminal record or anything that might make you ineligible, this is the time where you can see where your issues are at and all the documents you might need. We're going to tell you right now the documents that you're going to need to collect. You can start getting them together for that day. And then once once they release some sort of application in August, we don't even know the fees right now. We don't know anything because they haven't said it yet. So when they do say it, you guys can come back again here and we'll be having another workshop. But be sure that it has your name on it and the date on there. Like that's what they want to see. If the date's not on there, then it's pretty useless for you. It has to have your date and your name on there so that you know they can tell that it's your document and not somebody else's. Oh, okay. You need proof that you lived in the United States since June 2007. So how do you prove this, right? How do you prove that you've been living here for the past 5 years? So the way that we say it is that try to find one document for every 3 months in the past 5 years. And like we said before, students can do their school transcripts. So, yeah?
I had a question about transcripts. For those of the students that have a semester system that ended May 24th, that is not going to be useful for them, right? Because if your semester ended May 24th, it doesn't necessarily prove that you were here in June 15th. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming only people that went to summer school?
Yes, that are currently in school.
Because June 15th was kind of
June
a sucky
15th
day.
it was after,
If
yes.
it was May 15th, people would have, right?
Yes, so for that one, for the June 15th one, well, a lot of the schools, if they ended early, they can use other ones such as their medical records or pay stubs. Anything, I mean, it doesn't have to be like, if you're a student, you don't have to get everything from the school. It can be a combination of a lot of documents. If you went to high school here for 4 years, for the past 4 years, that shows, or even before that, if you were in middle school, whatever it might be, they usually even bring them out in quarter transcripts or semester, regardless of what it is, it shows that you were here all that time with the whole school year, right? So that one is very helpful for that one. That actually makes your life a lot easier to prove that you were here for the past 5 years. If you can't find your transcripts or anything like that, then you can use anything else that we mentioned before, but you need to get one. We recommend that you get one for every 3 months, like a quarterly, so that you can show that you were here. You don't need one for every day, you don't need one for every month. We're saying every 3 months that it shows that you were here physically present living in the United States since 2007. And we recommend that you also organize them in chronological order in a box or in a file. So make it easier for them to see your file and your folders, and just put them in order. This is going to take a while. This might mean that you're going to have to go to your schools and collect information, go to your bank, to your doctors. But that's why we're telling you this early in advance, so that you can do that. So by the time that August comes around, you're prepared. You need proof of identity, okay, and date of birth and qualifying age. So obviously we need some way to prove that all these documents are yours and you are who you are. We need you, or recommend you to get your birth certificate or your passport. It can be a national identity document, like you're currently in deportation proceedings, you should bring it up and you should say, you know what, I meet the requirements, I'm eligible for deferred action, so don't deport me. Once again, if you're not currently in deportation proceedings, the application process is not available till mid-August. Okay, we are emphasizing this throughout the entire presentation because we've seen already advertisements of notarios and attorneys saying, oh, give me your money right now. And you'll probably, if you look to pick up a magazine, you'll probably see them already. And they'll say, you know, we'll give you a discount, give me, you know, this much money and we'll get your application process started. That's not true. There's no application process. So that's how they're ripping a lot of people off. And you need to be smart about this. Just know that there's nothing that you can do unless you're in deportation proceedings until August. And they have until mid-August, but you know, you will know in the media when exactly the application is out. They'll announce it everywhere. And we will also notify, if you are interested, we'll notify you to talk to the attorneys if you do have any issues so they can tell you whether, you know, it would be dangerous for you to apply, because like we said, if you do get denied, you might get deported. That's the very downside. And the people that are more likely to get denied are those who have any form of criminal background or encounters. So that's why we tell you to please bring it up. Okay, and then now, yeah, so we're done for now, and I don't know.
This was it was an administrative decision that the Obama administration made. If there's a new administration in January, they may make a different decision. So those are all kind of open-ended questions. And then the good moral character issues are extremely important. So if you're talking to other young people, it is so important that people are really, really careful about not not breaking any of the laws, because even, one DUI, carrying a firearm, things that, oftentimes we don't think are that serious crimes, are people are going to be out of this program if things like that happen.
Also, if someone turns 30 in those 2 years, might they not be able to?
That's a possibility. That's certainly a possibility. The way it's set up, it wouldn't make any sense for them to start deporting 31-year-olds, right? I mean, that would that wouldn't make sense. Does our government always do things that make sense? We really, really encourage everyone who thinks they might be eligible to get a good legal analysis of their case. That's really important. Don't just kind of self-exclude. And as more information becomes available, I think we'll be able to do better analysis of people's cases as well. There's 2 questions in the back.
So, what will happen, do you think, if we get a new administration and it doesn't allow to be renewed? What happens to those students that apply? I mean, at the end of the 2, will they be at risk of possibly getting deported after those 2 years? What are some of the things?
So there's certainly risk. There is risk, and everyone needs to make a decision. Is this a risk I am willing to take? In the 20 years that I've been following this, I've never seen the Immigration Service offer a benefit to large numbers of people and then take away that benefit from large numbers of people. In the past, what we've seen is that once people get into the system, they get some kind of a benefit. It generally leads to something positive. Does that mean that will always happen, or that will happen in this case? There's certainly no guarantee. My personal opinion, I think it would be political suicide for any politician to say, let's deport hundreds of thousands of young high school and college graduates. That's not the population that anyone really wants to be deporting in massive numbers. It just doesn't make sense. Individuals, someone who's in the system, they get a DUI, that person very much at risk, very likely to be deported. Someone who's in the system, petty theft, very likely to be deported. Accused of gang activity, very likely to be deported. On a case-by-case, individual basis, people who get into the system and then get into some kind of trouble with the system are very likely to be at risk of deportation. And we'll be continuing to offer presentations in Redwood City, San Francisco, Oakland, Antioch, to inform community members about what this new policy entails, what the eligibility requirements are, what possible risks might be for certain individuals and what next steps people will be able to take. We expect the application process to become available in mid-August, and at that point we'll be helping individuals who qualify to fill out the application forms once it's clear what those are going to be.